Hello and welcome to the TSM Fanhub podcast, episode 8. I'm joined by my friends. I think Brad, I told you you're not going last this week, so I'm joined with Brad, Jeff, and Chris.
Correction, this is the 1907 Fibonacci podcast coming from me, actually. So you guys are welcome. I'll explain more
Welcome to
later.
the 1907 Fenerbahce Fanhub podcast. This is episode 1.
VFB now, boys.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about soccer for a little bit, and then we'll get into league. But no, we are your guys' hub as fans. We are your guys' hub for all things TSM, game recaps, news, matches and predictions, and I guess apparently rating bad teams really high in pick'ems.
Underrating
What do you mean
great
bad
teams.
teams?
I'm underrating a great team.
I didn't say which teams you're reading. It could have been that you put Samsung Galaxy too high. Who knows? All right, moving right along. Biggest announcement coming down the pipeline. There was 2 announcements. The first one we're not going to talk about. Probably we'll talk about it later. But the first one was just a change to the format of the All-Star tournament. It's going to be less cheesy and memey and more actual All-Star like. We'll talk about that in a future episode, probably closer to All-Stars, just because there's a lot to unpack there. And a lot of things are changing. If you want, go on Riot's website. I think LOL Esports has that article done. The second change, which we're going to talk about now because this is going to have far-reaching effects and will change kind of how the team views this next season coming up, is best of ones are back in North American LCS. Now, if you read or watched anything from Riot this week, there is a lot of good content. I know Emily Rand even put out an article about this, and there's a lot of good back and forth discussion about this. The main reasons, and to be completely blunt, the main reason is money and trying to get more viewers. They've seen viewership falling off, which makes sense when you have dual streams. If TSM versus CLG is in one stream, no one's going to be watching Envy versus Echo Fox. I'm sorry. And so I'm not sorry. Yeah, so that's best of ones are back. What are you guys' initial thoughts on just I understand like the competitiveness of the league, I think is going to drop. What are you guys' thoughts?
My initial thoughts? Fuck this. After I did a little bit more research, I understood what the fuck was going on, and I get the reasoning. I agree that the competitiveness is going to decline. I'm gonna be a little bit more worried about Worlds next year after this goes through like a whole season and see how NA does. I'm wondering if we're going to decline in skill or up in skill, or are we going to take more breaks to go to Korea? I wonder if that's going to happen too. The other thing that I think it's gonna be good for more the casual fan. Fans like us, obviously, when NALCS was on this week or during the seasons, I mean, my weekends were just shot. Like I was watching Friday, I was watching Saturday, and I was watching Sunday. My friends would literally be like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm watching League," and they would just call me a nerd, and they wouldn't see me for like 3 months. It's cool, that's just what I did. So I enjoyed it, and
respect.
I enjoyed
I got in
it.
so much trouble at work because I would always have it on my phone, just like
Oh yeah,
all the time.
but
But
you have VODs in the background.
right. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I loved it. But I can see how, like, the average person, if you're just, like, playing League in the background, you probably don't want to, you probably want to look over and just watch one game at a time. Also, they weren't able to do this year as much narrative stuff because the games were longer. The casters were more bogged down about the games. Very interesting. If you want to see more of the other side, the Dive this week released, like, pretty much, I think, like, 3 episodes or some shit like that. But one of the episodes, they had the 2 guys, head of the esports department, the actual head. They go over to Europe, all that fun stuff. I don't remember exactly what their names were, but they did a very good explanation about, why they did what they did. And one of the cool things that they did point out was they are still willing to change. I will repeat that for everybody that's freaking the fuck out right now. They're still willing to change. So, if let's say best of ones goes to shit, right? And makes NA the worse than EU. God forbid that if that fucking happens. I swear to God. That's a rant and a half waiting to happen. But they're willing to go, hey, all right, maybe best of ones wasn't the right format, or maybe best of threes wasn't the best format. Maybe, please to God, this happens. Maybe they hire fucking Monte Cristo to help us out on the side as a.
Doubt it.
I know,
That's
but
never
still,
gonna happen.
I can dream. A
It'll be
boy can
nice.
dream.
He's
can't
already
he?
been crucified, killed, and buried, man. Like
Third day, man. The third year. Monte Cristo will rise again on the third year.
or just back and mount his revenge with a different name, and we don't know who he is, and elaborate anyways.
Yeah. So, I mean, either way, it's gonna work. I mean, it's gonna be a new experiment. Everyone that's freaking the fuck out about over it, you are in the minority. If you really love best of threes, you're in the minority. I'm sorry, but it's true. I'm in the minority. I completely understand that. So, I'm sorry, but this is how the world works. Money makes the world go around. We knew this when franchising was gonna start. So, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna up their price. They're gonna try to get more viewers, and they're gonna try to get more money. If we don't like it, then we gotta bitch our asses off because they read Reddit.
Yeah. Originally, I hated it too. I still do, because I was like you. I would come home, and maybe I missed game 1, so I could still watch game 2 or game 3. Or it was hard from VODs. I didn't want to sit through 3 games of VODs though. Like whenever I was reviewing those, so I do like it in that perspective, and I do like that they're emphasizing on like the smaller teams where best of one, anything can happen, anybody can win, that kind of thing. I like the upsets, but sometimes it's just, I don't know. I'd rather have best of threes than best of one. But if they're going to include all of the like focused streams and stuff, then I'm all for it. And it's all about money. So,
Well,
Jeff?
What surprises me, the entire upset narrative has always confused me because upsets still exist in best of 3 because some of the best upsets in North American history have been in the last 2 or 3 splits. 3 splits, actually. Both against TSM, the ones that are in my mind. The first one, Phoenix 1 beating TSM, and the second one, Team Liquid with Doublelift beating TSM. Both of them were super entertaining to watch because they spanned over an entire series, and it showed where the strong team is dominant, and it showed where the weak teams are just nuts. So I feel like the narrative of upsets can still happen. I just think that best of ones are a bit more volatile with them, I guess, but I don't see that as a net positive. I just definitely prefer best of 3, but I'll still watch best of 1.
Yeah, I think from a hardcore fan type of experience, best of threes offer the most excitement from the way that a series unfolds, the way that picks and bans change from game to game, and just kind of the micro narrative of a series. However, I will say, and this is a lot of points. These are a lot of points that Emily Rand was making. Is we've never really had a season, even when it was best of ones, where the top 3 teams in North America aren't actually the top 3 teams. So from a competitive standpoint, I don't think this is going to make like all of a sudden Liquid gets 4th again. Well, no, that could happen. But like all of a sudden, TSM is 10th place, even if they keep the same roster. Like I don't think it's not like we're going to a coin flip so like we can't have that mentality. And the other side of this is, maybe maybe this does help in franchising in some way, because best of threes that is a lot of split time on 2 streams. That's a ton of work for Riot to produce, because that's 2 video directors, that's 2 arenas that they have to keep open. I really hope that they go back to dual streams, where they've got a bot-centric stream, or looking at the mid lane matchup, because that stuff I think builds narrative even better than maybe like a best of 3 would. And I think it's like, it is sad, but also remember, as a TSM fan, TSM, whether best of 3 or best of ones, have always made the finals. So this shouldn't have too much of an effect on them. They've done well when it's best of ones. They've done well when it's best of threes. Most notably their season where they were doing horrible with Yellow Star, and then they they finished 6th that season. It was best of ones. Like they still made it to finals. So I think, because there's 10 teams in the league and 6 of them get into playoffs, there's a lot of leeway. And if your team really is good, you've got to prove it in playoffs. Yeah, so I think it definitely has its ups and downs. Any other last thoughts before we move on from best of ones?
If anybody from Riot is watching, can you give me specific
Free
streams for
RP?
each?
Sorry.
Well, not free RP. Can we get specific streams for each player? That would be dope too. BT dubs.
If we're getting best of one,
yeah,
if
if
we're
you
getting
give me
best
best
of
of one,
ones,
give me that.
yeah, if we're getting best of ones. Can we get more international tournaments?
Or I just want to be able to watch like a top lane stream or just a mid lane stream. Then
You
that
just
would,
go
I would
Monster, dude.
I would that would suffice me. That would suffice me. I would give no shits
without
about.
casters?
Yeah, 0 casters. Or
Zero
give me
casters?
Freak. I just want Freak the whole time. Yeah, everyone that hates on Freak.
Really?
Yeah, fuck you guys. I want Freak,
Freak
the whole
is just
time.
jumping down. Freak is just jumping down all of them. So he's in your cast for like 2 minutes, and then he
I think
jumps
he's-
to the jungle.
And he just
cast,
throws
and then he
puns
jumps-
in there. Yeah, he just throws puns in there every once in a while. That's all I want.
Wow, this lane is the top notch.
Actually,
It's
Riot,
like,
can
then
you
he-
give me a Freak caster pack? Give me that.
Oh,
I
there
want a
we go.
Freak
Oh,
caster
boy.
pack,
There
please.
we go. Man, that would.
Easy to please.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
He's already bankrolled by then. Honestly,
Yeah.
speaking of caster packs, I really thought that during the Bilgewater event they were gonna get something like Johnny Depp to do the
That would be
announcer
awesome.
voice.
I would rather have Tobias
anyways.
Fate, but yeah. It's like-
Well, yeah, back then. Anyway,
Alright.
back
One
then
more
as if it
thing.
was.
I
Oh
get
yeah, go
my
for
2
it.
cents in here. Okay, so I saw this idea on Reddit, and I think it's a great idea. Spring split should be best of 1. Summer should be best of 3 because spring's like the preseason and summer's like the actual season
Mhm.
that leads up to Worlds, and best of 3 will help that you develop more talent.
Got a fucking
They should
thinker on
do
our
it
hands
like-
right there.
they should
Good
do
shit
it
like
there.
PUBG, where every other week, 1 week's best of ones, the next week's best of threes.
1 week is
Fuck it.
League, the next week is Dota.
The players
The
gotta
next
switch
week is
back and forth.
Pokemon Go. You just.
They set up a gym, and whoever has it at the end of the day. wins.
Oh man.
Why don't they just do a
Alright.
giant org competition where they just throw org versus org? So melee player versus melee player, league team versus league team, and just switch throughout the whole week. It's called the
Okay,
fucking
that would
gauntlet.
be amazing if like if Liquid and TSM did something like that at Liquid's new headquarters. Just think, but think about it. Think about how cool that would be. Just one day where they just where they do like the gang, the gang matches where it's like you have 5 teams and you send your first team. Well, actually, no, that wouldn't work.
No, so CS versus, like league versus league, and then they get 1 point for whoever
Yeah.
wins, and then they go melee versus melee, and then they go Wii U versus Wii U. But the only thing that we have to make sure is that Leffen is not on this shitty ass fucking streak that he's been on for melee.
Yeah, let's
You like
Do it
that
next
fucking
year. Do it
right?
next year.
Oh yeah.
Oh man! Wow, look at that segue. We
Yeah.
should. You're honorary host of the 1907 Fenerbahce Fanhub podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chris, take it away. Take it away. Leffen? Really?
Leffen, yeah. But dude, Leffen, I don't even know. I want to see. Okay, everybody be on the lookout because I guarantee he's probably gonna put like some 20-minute video about bitching about this tournament. Leffen didn't even make top 8. He got out in the round of 34. He did lose to Plup. Plup has always been his kryptonite. Sheeks has always been his bad thing. The more interesting thing about this tournament was that he entered the Marvel vs. Capcom one, but he finished like 33rd. I don't even know if he actually played, to tell you the honest truth. I think he probably just got tilted off of Melee and just dipped out. But his Twitter, yeah, if you watch his Twitter account after the game, he was bitching about the tournament organization, which, I wonder who else bitches about tournament organization, or who's been bitching about this the whole fucking year and still no one does anything about it. Whatever. But he was bitching about that, so I know.
That wouldn't be you. would it?
Never.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
It's almost like Chris. Do you think he's someone who rants about things?
No.
Never. Oh my
If
god.
I had to come up with like adjectives to describe Chris, a ranter would not. I don't even know if that's an adjective. So
Just
I'm
put
gonna
me and
stop
Leffen
there
in a
before you
room.
guys all think I'm dumb.
Let me and Leffen go on a rant. Oh, maybe we should get Leffen on there. Me and him will just bitch for a whole episode.
Dude,
together.
if you get Leffen on here, do it. Go.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I would
I
bitch
would
with
give
Leffen
up my
all
spot
day.
for that evening for you to get Leffen on here. Oh man.
I would, yes. I would pay, dude, I would love that. For me and him just to bitch about tournament organization. I don't know, but I'm waiting for that rant because he went on one. And everybody else that was giving him shit, get off his fucking back, bro. If you've never been in a real tournament, don't fucking call him a loser because he hasn't been performing well. I mean, yes, he's a TSM guy. Yes, he deserves to, he needs to be in every final, every tournament. Yes, I told you, that needs to be. That's right. It's a need in TSM to be winners. But when they do fail, if you're a real fan, don't fucking bitch at him. I mean, he had a bad tournament. He's been...
So don't bench Sven?
Don't bench Sven.
Or do?
No, because
Sorry, I'm
if you
confused,
bench
'cause
Sven, I hope...
the TSM subreddit shows me that if
Bench
you're
Sven
a true
for
fan and we go
Ooh.
2-1 in our opening... wait a minute.
Just know if you say bench Sven, that means that Sven's gonna come through your mirror at night and punch you in the face with his big old biceps and forearms now. By the way, yeah, if you say Sven 3 times in the mirror, or you say bench Sven 3 times in the mirror, he'll come through and punch you in the face. It's true.
But only after a losing streak in League of Legends.
Yeah,
Where your jungler feeds.
This is on topic. I like this.
This is great. We're really going at it tonight. I can't wait for pick'ems, boys. Pick'ems gonna be great. Okay, so Leffen did
Okay,
decent.
so by the way, pick'ems
Yes.
are coming at the end of this episode.
Have fun with that one. Yeah. Leffen did good. Zero got third in singles, second in doubles. Him and Nairo were partners. Zero got kicked. He started off in losers of top 8, so he lost to MK Leo, got knocked out. Pretty decent showing. The tournament, I guess, was really cool. I guess in Salt Lake City. So if anybody was out there at Game Tyrant or out there in Salt Lake City, go next year. I guess it was pretty cool.
Yeah, Zero, I think, don't get me wrong, he's been doing really, really well pretty much this whole year. Finals, almost every single tournament he's been in. So I think he gets a pass with this tournament. Don't get me wrong, it would be nice if he was in finals again, but there's no shame in losing to someone like MK Leo. He's a really strong player. And third place, if you're mad about third place...
You're probably a TSM fan.
You're probably a TSM fan.
Oh, gosh. Man, we are...
Oh boy.
Well, if we're just gonna start bashing our teams, why don't we just move to Vainglory at this point? We're just gonna fucking roll through them all and just keep knocking them out. Bah, bah, bah.
Oh boy.
To be fair, the way I set this episode up, I did try to get all the painful stuff out of the way first.
We're ripping off the Band-Aid.
Do you guys have anything else to say about Smash players? I don't think they've got a tournament this weekend. Do you guys know when their next tournament is?
Big House, right?
Big House. Big House is gonna be the next tournament.
And is that a big
Will do fine. Yeah.
tournament?
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's
Because I know this one had a
lot
ton of
big- Yeah.
this one had a ton of people at it, so that's like it's a little bit more demoralizing that Leffen got out so early, because a win here means so much more. But is this next tournament?
He's just prepping for Big House, right?
Yeah, that's
Right?
yeah. And it's just scrimming. He was practicing different team comps. Duh.
He was
Yeah.
just trying Galio mid. Oh wait.
Here we go again.
All right. Well, speaking of Galio mid, nope. Speaking of Vainglory,
Speaking about poopy teams.
holy cow. So I don't know, Brad. What is going on with TSM Vainglory? Because here's okay. If I were to give like the 30-second rundown of TSM Vainglory, it was we got this team. They were amazing. Then we lost 2 players. I forget if they left or whatever. We dropped them. We got 2 new players. Hey, guess what? TSM is still amazing. Then like our podcast starts. Oh, you know what?
Uh-oh.
And like honestly, after I'm not saying coincidentally, it's just that's the time frame. So it was the summer Vainglory 8 summer split, like splits 1, 2, and 3. That's when they lost to Immortals in the first round. They lost to a bunch of other teams, and like they're so bad that Jeff will even leave. Okay, so for those of you who didn't watch or have only been keeping up with Vainglory in this podcast, this week, so this was the second week of the autumn Vainglory 8 split, if you want to call it that. And they lost to Nova team like Nova Esports, who didn't have any points before this week. They lost 2-0. Their second game, they were up 4-2, and then gave up 9 unanswered kills. I mean, to be fair, they were keeping it even. They were losing a couple kills early, but what's going on with his team, Brad? Is it FlashX? Like, is it all the fact that FlashX is saying bye?
I don't know. Maybe he's in like retirement coast mode already, or if it's just the team just kind of fell off all of a sudden. Like you said, they lost to Nova. They lost 2-0 to Nova, who I said on the last podcast. Starboy was like their Flash X, right? And he didn't even play. He took a break from Vainglory. Their best player didn't even play, and they still wiped TSM. And the first game was brutal. It wasn't like we usually trash on Von C a lot because of his constant miscommunication, misplays, mispositioning.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even him really this week. It was more Best Chuck, and they just kept getting caught out. Or I'm just gonna go back to the lack of communication, lack of like this is a team that had all the potential in the world, and now they're struggling against lower teams.
Right. This is a really sad trajectory to see them on. I think if they can stay in the top 3, so right now they drop with this, I guess technically fifth place, tied for 5th place finish on the weekend. They dropped down to 3rd overall, so they did finish 2nd last week. So I guess it's not as like the sky isn't falling as much as we're calling it. Again, we're hard on them because it's TSM, and I think if they can stay in the top 3, especially if they can edge into that first or second spot. Now, 1st place has 16 points, 2nd place has 10 points, and they're down at 3rd with 6, and everyone else behind them has 5 or 0 points. So if they can hold 3rd or edge into 1st place, edge into 2nd place, that's really going to help them I think that they need to stabilize, and I feel like they really need to stabilize before FlashX moves out and before the replacement comes in, because if they don't, this team's going to be in a tailspin, adding a new player, and who knows what's gonna happen with that. So that's Vainglory. We will be talking about, they do have a match coming up this weekend, so we'll be talking about that a little bit later. The last team that we want to talk about, so we talked about Smash Bros, which are teams of 1. We talked about Vainglory, teams of 3. Now team of 4. We're moving up in the world. Pubg had their Azum every week.
This is my favorite part of the week right here. You trying to pronounce it gets me going.
Do you put the do you pronounce the Z like the Zom?
Call it the A-team tournament.
You know what I do? I just don't pronounce it.
So Pubg's in this one tournament, and
there you go.
So this week, first off, news on that front, the tournament organizers at this one tournament organization, which will not be named, they changed all of the weeks. So they originally did week 1 was third person. Week 2 was first person. Week 3 was going to come back to first person. Week 3 was going to come back to third person again. They wiped that. They were like, nope, we're not going to do that. What they're actually doing is they're all the weeks from here on out are going to be first person perspective. So I think that is really good for the competitiveness of this tournament, and this is going to be one of the first tournaments, minus the 1 week of third person that they had. This is going to be the first week where you have all first person perspective for all of the games. TSM this week went in the 3 rounds. They went 4th, 11th, and 8th, which dropped them from 7th to 9th overall. Chris, you were looking up on you were watching them a little bit. What are your thoughts? It looked like, I think Vis went killless this week, and Smack only got 1 kill, but Break and AMPR were still doing all right. What's your breakdown of them this week?
Break and AMPR are going to be our horses. We're going to ride them. And Vis and Smack are going to be the dudes that are going to pop off. I'm waiting for Vis to pop off for like 12 kills. Won the game. I'm just waiting for it because that usually happens. The only game that we got top 5, you can thank AMPR for that. He camped the fuck out of a house and got us all the way to 4th. Him and Break basically camped one of the little small houses until like second to last circle or something like that. The 11th finish, you see a new meta developing within the first person where people are, we're going to have to get through this and people are going to bitch, but the house camping is going to start. And you watch when you see the circle going from really big to really small. If there's a bunch of houses, just know that people are going to be there. They're probably going to camp because they're searching for points. They're figuring it out. Until somebody wants to break that meta, which I'm hoping to God someone's like, fuck this. If they're all going to hide in the house, we're just going to throw grenades in that bitch. I'm hoping for that team. I'm hoping TSM's that team and Breaks just starts throwing grenades every time he sees a house. That'd be awesome. But we might be in a meta where there's a lot of camping. So the fans out there, please be patient with the teams while they figure out different strategies because it might get boring. It might get a little boring. I'm not saying it will because usually the final circle is super hype. But that might be the meta we're in. And then the 8th overall finish, normal not final circle, but lower to the last circles. They got caught in a firefight, died. It all depends on where the circle's going to drop and when you have to move, and if somebody's crossing your path or you cross a building and another team's camping in there and they shoot you out of your car. I mean, it's really RNG circle.
Or you fat finger the
F and you fall out of your car. I mean,
not that ever happened.
But yeah, so just in general, it might get a little bit weird at this point, but stick with it. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm waiting for the next big tournament. Whoever hosted the Gamescom tournament, please do another big international like that, please. Or Korea, make a scene, please. I really want to see a Korean scene because I feel like they would try different shit.
Wasn't there? Mm-hmm. There were a couple Korean teams like that were at, oh gosh, I forget what Evermore or whatever his name was, at Gamescom. And so it would be really cool if there was a Korean scene that develops. I think right now the problem is this game, I mean, for lack of a better term, has kind of been forced into esportsdom, which call it ready, call it not ready, whatever you want to do. I think organizations like this tournament that's going on are doing it really well, where they're willing to adapt and change their own rules, 3 weeks in, 2 weeks in, being like, you know what, we heard you players and we see that third person perspective isn't as good as first. So we're going to play first for the rest of this. And I think that's what's needed to build up these small tournaments so that when you get a big tournament, it's what's best. I think in regards to the meta and how it's evolving, I think with any game, and obviously this will change because PUBG is going to get patched and all this stuff is going to happen. But I think it'd be interesting to see if just like house breaking or like house breaching strats come along. Like, who knows? Because whenever there's a strat that's dominating, there's always a strat that starts rising up to beat that. I mean, look at Smash and how that scene is developed, and how that game hasn't gotten touched yet. There's still metas that rise and fall.
Just say it. You want to refer to League? Just say it.
I was going to refer to League changes way too often to make that comparison. And so I don't know how much you can change PUBG to make house camping not like viable. Like, I don't know, you can lay down like tax or something. No, I'm kidding. So everybody's prone, they start taking damage. I don't know. I'm sure they're talking about stuff because obviously they don't want the face of, I mean, esports isn't necessarily the face, but they don't want something with big exposure on their game to be just a bunch of people sitting in a house. Yeah. It's the same thing it's the same reason that League stopped lane swaps, because they wanted the game that you play to look like the game that the pros play. So overall, TSM, I mean, this is a pretty average week. We've seen a lot of people, if you look at that leaderboard, you're seeing a lot of people, a lot of teams moving up, a lot of teams moving down. Just kind of, it's the team that's in first scored like 107 points their first week. To give perspective, most teams are scoring somewhere between like 20 and 40 points per week. So to get 107 the first week kind of pads your stats for the next couple of weeks. Also, they are doing amazing each week. That first team, they have a stranglehold on first place, but it is possible. There's still 5 weeks left, so there's going to be 8 weeks of this. So we've got week 4 through 8 left. So who knows? We have seen some big swings in placement, and hopefully TSM can start grinding and get up to the top. I think it would be really cool to see them finish this tournament top 5. I think that would be a mark of a successful team. So cheer for them, root for them, watch those VODs, watch their streams. They're always entertaining to watch. Yeah, so that'll do it for all of the games that happened this past weekend. Just to let you guys know of a couple things, and I'm going to go a little bit out of order here. Vainglory has their Vainglory 8 Autumn. They're going to be against the Gangstars. Real quickly, Gangstars are tied for last place with 0 points. Hopefully, TSM can beat them.
That doesn't mean we won't lose to them.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what TSM team you are. There's always the ability to lose to really good teams. But I think that TSM should be looking for first or second place this weekend. They kind of have the softball quarterfinals that should give them momentum going into the semis, and hopefully they can get to the finals this week and place first or second. Like I just said, Pubg is again first person perspective always in the 4th week of that tournament, and I was able to not say the name ever again, guys. So thanks for that. Avoid it.
See you next week.
It's a technique.
Just avoid it, yeah.
Before we get into anything league related, I have something league related that you're going to want to hear. We are doing, if you tuned in last week, or if you didn't, we are doing an RP giveaway. Now, why are we just like giving this away? No. So there's a couple things that need to happen. The first thing that needs to happen is TSM needs to win a game. Every group stage game that TSM wins, we are giving away a $5 RP card to one of the people who comments on this video. So week 1, if you comment on this video, and your comment can be as stupid as I commented, I don't care, whatever. If you comment on this video, your name will go into an automatic drawing per game. No, not per game, because if you win, it will go into a drawing per game, but if you win, you can only win once per week. You will go into a drawing, and every game that TSM wins, we will do a $5 RP drawing. So, again, just to be as clear as possible, because there's some people that didn't really get this last week, you will comment on this video. You've got, I think we're going to give it, you've got 24 hours after TSM's last game to comment, and we won't close the comment section, but that's when we'll gather all the names. Maybe it won't be 24 hours because it'd be really early in the morning. So maybe it'll be something like 23 or like 22 hours after TSM's last game. And one giveaway per game that they win. Put your name in the comments, or not put your name in the comments. Put a comment in the comments. Tell all your friends about this.
Spicy memes are welcome. Spicy memes are welcome.
Oh yeah, definitely. And remember, just to give you a foretaste, when TSM gets out of groups and goes to quarterfinals, if they win quarterfinals, we'll be doing $10. If they get to semis and win that, we'll be doing $20 giveaway. And if they get to finals and win that, there is a giant boatload of TSM swag coming your way. So just keep that in mind. Remember, this is week 1 of group stages. Comment on this video. I'm going to say it one more time. Comment on this video, and that will enter you into week 1, not week 2, week 1. All right. I think I got most of the disclaimer stuff out of the way. With all that,
what video did they comment on? The next one?
So Thorin came out with a video called "Why Everyone Hates TSM Fans." Just comment on that video.
Private message Reggie and ask him where to comment.
But remember, to comment, you have to have your TSM fan card.
There's
All
a
right.
song from the 90s called 1 Week by the Bare Naked Ladies. Comment the phrase, "It's been 1 week since you looked at me" on that, and we will enter your name.
I wonder why everyone was confused last week as to what they're supposed to do. Oh man, oh lordy. All right.
Spicy memes, please.
All right. We're moving into our world's coverage section. I'm just gonna call it that because whenever anything happens, like the Olympics, all the news organizations get these really flashy graphics. The funniest, and this is completely off topic, during election night, I think it was one of the news organizations. I think they just said, hey, if we have a graphic for it, put it on the screen. And literally the announcer's face is like inside this little tiny box of like all of these things that were moving and like displaying numbers and percentages and like scrolling. And oh man, it was horrible. All that to say, this is your 2017 Worlds coverage. All right. Guys, it's Worlds. By the time this episode gets to you, well, if you're listening on SoundCloud, it'll be like as Worlds is starting. If you're listening on YouTube,
Probably the day after.
the day after Worlds start.
Before tomorrow, before Worlds start tomorrow. Or Friday.
We'll see. We'll see when, yeah. So it'll either be before TSM plays or as they're playing or right after they play. So TSM group stages. Remember, this is the first week. There's 4 days in week 1. TSM will play all the teams one time, and I believe they play. Oh man, I'm gonna get this completely wrong. They play World Elite first, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, they play Flash Wolves,
right? Yeah.
Flash Wolves
yep.
tomorrow.
And then they play. So they play at. This is all gonna be Central Time because I don't feel like doing conversions for you guys. On Friday, October 6th, they play at 2 a.m. So Friday morning, 2 a.m., Flash Wolves versus TSM. The next day, again at 2 a.m., they play versus WE. And the last day at 3 a.m., they play versus Misfits. So that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning. So make sure you catch those or catch VODs. I'm going to do a shameless plug for eventvods.com. If you like LOL Event VODs, the subreddit, which is a spoiler-free subreddit, go to eventvods.com. Not sponsored at all. I've been using them to watch everything in Worlds so far.
Want to.
But if they want to, well, I don't think they're also like fan made. So, but yeah, if they want to, we'll put their logo over here. They can put our
For
logo.
some reason, they want to give us money.
Yeah.
Or if they, want to send them.
But definitely, if you haven't seen them, that's a great way. They suppress the like time bar at the bottom, so you can't. They give you controls to move forward and backwards, but you can't see how long the video has left. So like, let's say a game is going to go an hour and it looks like the team's going to win it after 15 minutes. You can't tell that there's still, another 40 minutes in the video left. That was horrible math. So just whatever. Anyways, all of that to say, it is Worlds time, baby. So I'm very excited. What we're going to do here is we're actually going to go through our pick'ems, and we're going to go through each group. So starting with Group A, we're going to go A, B, C, and then we're going to end with Group D. We're going to talk about our predictions for TSM, and then we're going to send it out for the night. So let's all go to our pick'em pages. You'll get to hear all of our pick'ems, and we're going to start with Group A. There's already, I know there's some memery and some fanboyishness going on here. But Group A, for me, and you can agree or disagree if you like, guys, and now I'm talking to you guys, not our fans. Well, fans, you have to agree with me.
No, you don't. You can agree with me, fans. That's who you need to agree with, because I got them all right.
Hashtag Josh was right, or hashtag Chris was right. That'd be really funny if we even got one comment like that. Anyways.
If you make hashtag Chris was right win, if there's multiple comments to that, I'll do something crazy next episode. Just wait.
I'm like, all right. My Group A is as follows. SKT is number 1. Edward Gaming, number 2. C9, number 3. And AHQ Esports, number 4. I know Chris disagrees with me. I know Jeff disagrees with me. Here's my 60-second reasoning on Cloud9 3, Edward Gaming 2. And here's the thing.
Before you start, can we agree with one thing? We all agree that SKT and AHQ are 1 and 4. Can we agree with that so we don't have to go with that? Cool. All right. Just wanted to make that.
No, just real quick. AHQ, people were saying, even though they're from the same region as Hong Kong Esports, people are saying, even though they finished above Hong Kong Esports, no, Hong Kong Attitude, my bad. People are saying they look worse than Hong Kong Attitude. And if you saw Hong Kong Attitude in the play-ins, they look pretty bad. So that doesn't bode well for AHQ. Here's the thing: is Cloud9 still has to beat AHQ in 2 games, and that's the part that scares me. Because okay, you make all those faces, you hum, you honk. At the same time, we're talking about a North American team that has to beat a bad team, and we know that doesn't always go well. Because
it's C9 though. It's C9, dude. That's our savior. They've always made the quarterfinals. You can't get mad at Dad. Dad's gonna roll. Dad's gonna roll lane.
I feel like I said something wrong.
You guys are right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Cloud9 has to go. They have to 2-0 Edward Gaming, or they have to go 1-1 with Edward Gaming and 2-0 AHQ. Here's the thing: if SKT and Edward Gaming go 1-1 with each other, then Cloud9 has to 2-0 one of those 2 teams, or they aren't making it out. That is assuming that EDG and SKT can both 2-0 AHQ, which I believe they should really be able to do that. So Cloud9 has a difficult time to punch their ticket out of this group. I don't know what you guys have them second. You guys have EDG third. I know Brad, you agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna stop talking unless you got something to say, Brad.
Give me one thing.
I'll give you one thing.
All right, only thing. I just think this. So like the jungle carry meta is kind of coming back. You see Nidalees, I see Bjerg playing Lee Sin in Korean solo queue, but he always plays Bjerg whenever he jungles. Kazakhs. Did I say I always plays Bjerg?
You did.
That's fine.
Oh,
You know what?
he always plays Lee. Doesn't matter. He does whatever he wants.
I always play
I
Bjerg.
think it's. I think it's gonna come down to the jungle matchup between Contracts and Clear Love. And Contracts, well, he is, we'll say, one of the best junglers in. Hold on, my turn. He is one of the best junglers in North America. I think Clear Love is one of the best junglers in the world. So I think Clear Love is going to be able to use his experience to push Contracts out of his own jungle and like take over the game.
I think we can just put Sneaky on Ashe, and he can use his experience to flash laterally into the arrow.
Okay, all right.
I think all right. I agree with you, Brad, in your placement of the teams, but not necessarily your reasoning, because I see this more as a keep the bot lane AD carry alive meta. Like you can make a ton of errors in the early games. So the jungler can just go off the face of the planet, like, and nothing, and as long as you have a scaling comp and you don't lose within like 20 and 35 minutes, if you've got a better scaling comp, you most likely will win the game. And yes, Sneaky did perform really, really well in the qualifier for Worlds, not just the play-ins, but like the North American qualifiers to get to Worlds. He played really well. He played really well in the play-ins. Will he play at that same level? He's the question mark for me. The Sneaky smoothie lane is the question mark for me, because no doubt I think Contracts will be able to at least show up, and I think Impact has been looking worse. Here's the thing though, we've seen the Impact Huni lane. We've seen that before in North America. We know how that can end up. I don't know. This group is really, as with a lot of these groups, this group is difficult to call second, third place, and I think it might even come down to a tiebreaker between EDG and Cloud9 when it's all said and done. All right, you guys who have Cloud9 in second place, go for it.
Do you want to go, Jeff? Or do you want me to go?
I only have one word that needs to be said, and that's cool. Jensen.
President, Jeff for president.
As long
2020.
As long as he brings his R key with him to Worlds, then
don't worry, I can pull mine off my keyboard. I'll ship it to him. Don't worry. I got your back, Jensen.
I really think Jensen is going to shit on this group, except for Faker, obviously. Not that who's Faker, right? But like, I think Westdoor's been playing like absolute garbage. I think Scout is good, but not good enough. I think Jensen is going to take over. We've seen him. If he gets a pick like LeBlanc, if he gets like Syndra, it's over. It's really hard to see them losing when he's on those champs. And I think that the rest of the team has been practicing super hard. And I think they're just going to show up really strong because they tend to show up strong, like well above their domestic level almost every time they're in an international tournament.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Okay. Watch RNG play. I mean, watch RNG EDG in the Chinese finals and tell me EDG won that game off of their fucking skill, and not Uzi tilting off his goddamn asshole and wanting to play Ezreal because fucking who knows at that point. That alone, them. I mean, yeah, they came out first for EDG, but they looked like crap. Second of all, okay, Sneaky has to play against iBoy. Homeboy's not even 18 yet, on the world stage in front of his home crowd. That's going to eat him fucking alive. Next one he has to play is Albus which he did shitty last year too. And then the only ADC that he's got to be somewhat worried about is SKT. And yeah, fucking Bang and Wolf are definitely going to roll through him in Smoothie. Sorry, Smoothie, I think you're good, but Sneaky's going to roll through these goddamn ADCs. It's ridiculous. And Jensen, you put Jensen up against Scout. If Scout tilts, if Jensen gets that first blood, Scout's going to run his head into Jensen and feed him 13 kills, while Clear Love goes right behind him and goes, oh, I'm going to try to out-gank you. And Jensen's going to go, I'm going to show you why I'm mechanically a god and why people say I'm good.
But if Jensen tilts, then it's a whole other story.
But with Jensen tilts, we still have Impact, they still have Dad, they still have contracts, and I put Impact against all these top laners, and I'm telling you this right now. Besides maybe Mouse, I think Impact takes them all easy.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
You think he doesn't take Mouse?
I don't think he takes Mouse. Nope.
I think Mouse sucks.
I think Mouse's unpredictability
here on the TSM Fanhub podcast.
I think Mouse's unpredictability will confuse Impact at times because he is so just like what the fuck, and Impact is not. He's like, you watch him play, he's calculated, while Mouse is like, I'm going for it, and you're just like, what? Whoa, why? What the fuck's going on? Whoa, dude, chill your shit.
I think he's unpredictable because he's like not good enough to have a predictable style or not good enough to have a consistency.
Hey, but that's how bronze players beat challengers.
Yeah.
On stage.
And then I think Contracts can hold his own versus Clear Love. Clear Love, if you watch EDG, Clear Love, if he ain't feeling it that game, that whole team ain't feeling it that game. So if Contracts can get him tilted early or get at him early, they will win EDG. I think they go 1-1 EDG, 0-2, they win 8-8 HQ 2-0, and they take one game off of SKT. And they take one game off of SKT. Bodied by Jensen comes back, baby, and Dad gets back on his throne, and Jin Sneaky's gonna come. Yeah, right. Actually, Jin Sneaky's not coming out, but Dad's gonna come out and wreck kids.
This is the one thing I will give this group is SKT was put in a really difficult position by only being allowed one sub. And I mean, every team at Worlds only can have one sub. And if you were following them, they had a jungle rotation and they had a top lane rotation with Huni and Untara. And they had to make a really difficult choice after getting smashed by Longzhu and by Khan. Who do we take? Do we take Huni, who has these games where he does really well, but also if he tilts, he's gone? Or do we take Untara, who may not be as good but is more stable? And they went with Huni. And I mean, if you have been a TSM fan for 2 years at least, you've seen Huni and you've seen his weaknesses. Now, those are nullified a little bit by being around such better players than the North American players that he was with. So having Faker over Pobelter and having
Peanut over.
Yeah, Peanut over.
Game over.
Rain over.
Game over.
Okay, Rain over was not bad. Anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. And so I think that is the weakness that SK Telecom needs to watch out for, because these games are no longer won or lost in mid lane. Yeah, if your mid laner gets ahead, that's great, especially if they're on a Syndra. But when you're going up against 3 tanks, having a Syndra doesn't feel the greatest. Yeah, I think this will be interesting. I think we'll see a lot of close matchups between Faker and Jensen. I think Jensen will be a star on Cloud9. Will it be enough to take them to second place in this group?
Sneaky
We
will be.
will find out.
Sneaky will
All
have
right,
the
we're
backpack. That's it.
Zip them up, Dad. All right, moving on to Group B. This is my Group B. I have Longzhu Gaming in first, Immortals in second, Fnatic third, and Gigabyte Marines fourth. Brad, I'm going to let you break down your reasoning for why you've got these teams in this place, and then we'll let the dissenters offer up their opinions. Wait, hold on. Before I say that, I'm guessing you guys both have Gigabyte Marines third and Fnatic fourth. Is that true?
Yeah, I do.
I do, yeah. Fuck
Okay,
yeah, I
yep,
do.
yep.
Fuck Fnatic.
Called
I
that.
have something real spicy here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll
Alright.
get to that. Brad, you explain.
I would-
You explain you and the more reasonably minded folk picks.
Okay, well, I'll start from the bottom. I think Gigabyte Marines, I'm not gonna say they're like a one tournament wonder, if you will. I think they're a solid team, but I think up against Longzhu, Immortals, and Fnatic, they're going to like expose their weaknesses, I guess, because TSM went into it not knowing a thing. There wasn't much film on them, because it was one of those, I don't want to say lesser regions, but
Emerging regions is
Yeah.
the proper term.
sorry. And they came in with the attitude like, how does your opponent know what you're going to do if you don't know what you're going to do? So
It's like that drunken style of karate or whatever.
yeah, and I think now that there's going to be enough scouting for the Gigabyte Marines to have some film out there, and then teams are going to be able to adapt to their strategies, see what they do, see their early rotations, and see their comfort picks, and ban those out. And like TSM failed to do at, was that MSI?
Yeah.
Was it okay?
Well, MSI they went they beat them in a best of 5, 3-2,
Mhm.
and then or did they lose to them 3-2?
No, they won.
They won. Okay, yeah, they
And
won
then
3-2, but then they went 1-1 in the groups against.
Okay, yeah.
Unless I'm
sounds-
completely wrong about that. That sounds right in my head, but that also could be completely wrong. So sorry.
Is that the one TSM reverse swept them, or am I thinking something else?
Yeah, it's the reverse sweep, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like they kept giving up Gragas,
Thanks, Jeff.
and then yeah, good job. They kept giving up Gragas. That's whenever he was in the top lane, and he would just dump all over TS. He would win. Whatever team had him would win the game pretty much.
Right.
So enough about that. On to Fnatic. I think we were talking earlier. They were lucky to get through the play-in, but it didn't look like that when they were playing so much. They dropped one game or something to.
Yeah, if you look at their game score, they dropped 1 game overall in the entire play-in. They should have dropped both of their games to
Young generation.
Young Generation. Like those were, oh gosh. And then they got probably one of the easier teams in the whatever the knockout stage.
Knockout, yeah. So, Soaz's matchup against Flame and against Khan is like, yeah, exactly. Like,
No.
Soaz isn't very good
Speaking
anymore.
of tilt,
Yeah, really.
Soaz is the guy where you watch his player cam to watch someone smash a keyboard. Like you want to be the people like I saw that live on stream when he smashed his keyboard. Like that's the player cam to watch.
Mhm.
And then BDD in the mid lane. I lost my picks. There they are. And then BDD in the mid lane against Pobelter. I guess I just skipped over Fnatic just because I went straight from Soaz.
I know, I
And
do
then
it all the time too, dude. EU teams suck
I don't-
ass.
Yeah, we don't even talk about them here.
Yeah, fuck them.
I just think Fnatic's overrated.
Me too.
That's it.
I really do.
Yeah.
Maybe I should put them last. Hold on.
Here's my only thing. This is the only reason I didn't put Fnatic last is Gigabytes is such an unknown coming into this tournament. They changed, I believe, 2 players from the roster from MSI, and of all of these 16 teams, I think they are the most unknown team coming into the Worlds tournament, which means they could be a fourth place team. They could surprise everyone and be a second place team in this group. I believe Immortals should have enough skill to beat them. However, this is the team that everybody knows the least about, and I put him fourth for that reason. But who knows? I could definitely see a world where Fnatic goes fourth and Gigabyte Marines goes third.
Mhm.
I just,
Come to the dark side. We got cookies. It's cool, man. I know.
I'm looking at the countdown. I got 3 hours.
There we go. Just wait for
Here's
this
the thing,
argument. I'm gonna
thing.
flip you right here, buddy. I'm gonna flip you
for it,
right
Jeff.
here. Or Jeff, you go. Who wants to
Yeah,
go, Jeff?
sorry.
Who
Go
wants
ahead,
to go?
go
Yeah,
ahead.
go, Jeff. Go.
Do you guys know anything about the Vietnamese finals?
Somebody's watching some VODs.
So, Fnatic almost lost both games to Young Generation, right?
Right.
You know who fucking stomped Young Generation? Gigabyte Marines. They subbed their support into mid lane and still won. They
Alright, I changed it.
subbed in Archie, okay? And if we're looking at Gigabyte Marines,
Mom said not to give into peer pressure.
Gigabyte Marines' biggest strength is Levi. Levi is a god. Let's be honest about this right now.
I'm doing it. It happened.
The top 4 jungler at this tournament. I
You're the
firmly
fucking man,
believe.
Jeff.
And Broxa is not good.
Nope.
So I really
Dog
think
shit.
that if this is a jungle tournament, Gigabyte Marines is definitely going to destroy.
Tag me in.
Say
Tag
what-
me in. Tag me in. Tag me in. I got you right here.
You're up.
Boom.
You're in.
You know
Before
who
you go-
Fnatic. Okay. Go. Come on. Say what you want to say.
The one player that I feel bad for on Fnatic is Reckless. Like, I really do feel for Reckless.
What? You feel bad for Reckless? Mr. KDA, are you fucking kidding me? You feel bad for Mr. KDA. Oh, okay.
Rough little side shaved haircut.
Oh
on top of
my
his
god, that's
I
beautiful.
just think that Reckless on a team that didn't have a tilter in the top lane, a inter in the mid lane, I don't know, just trash as the other two positions. Like, I feel like Reckless could actually. Here's the thing, guys. We moan about Europe and how it's going to be horrible and they're split into 4 regions. But if there was more talent like Reckless in Europe, it might actually be an engaging region to watch. That's all I'm saying. I want the best for him.
Crybabies like Reckless?
What?
More crybabies like Reckless? Can we get that image of him crying on his keyboard when they lost?
Hey man, that's about passion, I think.
Cue the kids also to say, well, if Bjergsen never left EU, EU would be amazing also. So cue that one also over in there. All right, so who did Fnatic lose to in the playoffs?
In the
In the EU,
playoff.
in the EU playoffs, who'd they lose to? Misfits. And Misfits lost to G2. If you want to do this roundabout thing, G2 had one hell of a time with Gigabyte Marines. And if you watch TSM's interviews today, they were having the one team they all said that they never wanted to play again was goddamn Gigabyte Marines. You want to know why? Because good old, you just call him right now because he's so goddamn dependable. Just call him Levi Strauss, baby, because he's the most dependable dude on that goddamn team, like my blue jeans I put on every goddamn morning, baby. The Levi is going to run train through Broxa and actually maybe not the rest of the junglers, but he's going to run train through Broxa. Fnatic's not even going to win a game in this fucking whole group because
I agree.
because you put Caps up against almost any one of these mid laners. I even think Optimus poops on him.
I will agree with that. Caps looks like the most booty mid laner in this entire tournament. Like, I'm looking down the line. Who's Misfits mid laner?
Power of Evil. And he's
Okay,
with
never mind.
yeah.
Never mind. Yeah.
Caps is a little better than PoE. I'll give him that much.
No.
I'm
scared of PoE. I think PoE might take a
I'm
game
scared.
off of us because he's PoE.
Kryptonite.
That's Bjerg's kryptonite, bro.
Everything I've watched of Caps over, like, watching the playoffs in EU and just everything of Fnatic playing, he is a player that can literally go in the same game 8-0 and then 0-12. Like, how like
Yes. Welcome to
and in a
EU.
series, so yeah, he's the most, like, polarizingly good and bad player in 2 games. Anyways, all right, keep going with your little rant there.
I don't even need it. I mean, I don't even need to finish it. You guys are gonna switch, Gigabyte Marines to number 3. Come to the dark
I already
side.
did it.
Yeah.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome. Good shit,
Can
Jeff.
Can I
Good
talk
shit,
for a
Jeff.
second?
Yeah. Good
Can
shit.
I talk for a second about my spicy prediction?
You're putting Immortals above Longju.
I am putting Immortals above
Ooh,
Longzhu.
I want to hear this one.
Ooh.
Let me hear this one.
It's because I'm fucking dumb, boys.
I don't want no boot. I don't want no chess.
No, I'm not in it for that. I'm in it. Here's the thing: you gotta be at least a little bold with your predictions. And while I think Longzhu is super, super good, and I think in my head they're gonna be first, but right here, baby, Immortals are gonna beat them. And I think that every single year, one Korean team performs a little bit under what is expected of them. Season 4, it was Najin White Shield. They didn't perform as well as people expected. Season 5, it was KT Rolster didn't play quite as well as people expected. Season 6, Samsung played very well after group stages, but
always.
yes, Samsung played well after group stages, but before group stages they didn't play that great.
Right.
This year I think it's going to be Longzhu, and I think with the group that they're in, it's a very volatile group, so I think that Immortals are going to be able to take a game off them, and I think that Gigabyte Marines is actually going to be able to upset and take a game as well. So I think that Immortals are going to go 5-1, Longzhu is going to go 4-2.
I just
Well, I can see that.
of all the groups, if I'm a Korean fan, this is the group that I'm looking at without even a worry on my mind. And maybe that's what
that's the secret.
And here's the thing is I will give it to you that like it's not a top lane carry meta, yet that's how Longzhu plays. Not all of their games, but Khan is a huge tool for Longzhu. And depending how much they can bend the meta to fit how they play in that group, I think that's really going to determine how that group turns out. Because if Khan is stuck on tanks and if he's put on carries and just doesn't have any impact in the lanes, yeah, I guess I could see a world where Longzhu.
You don't have to rationalize this. It's okay.
I'm trying to come to you, man. You come halfway to me, I'll come halfway to you.
I'll be the dark horse on this one.
But honestly, if I'm looking out, like look at Group A, B, and C. Like, yeah, I mean, is SKT. If that was any other Korean team, you would be really scared for that Korean team. Like EDG, Cloud9.
You're not scared for Samsung in Group C?
And no, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Samsung, you see, RNG, G2.
Don't forget the best team in that group.
and just looking at the Longzhu group, Fnatic and Gigabyte Marines, I think are going to be two of. Well, okay, again, this is me speaking here. I think the bottom 5 teams of this tournament are AHQ, Fnatic, Gigabyte, Misfits, and 1907. And I hope that they prove me wrong. Yeah, that's bold. But I think Longzhu getting in a group with 2 of the worst teams at the tournament, I think is just going to, I think it's going to be fine for them. I could see Longzhu coming out of this 6-0.
I do think Gigabytes are better than they might look going into it, but I can't argue with that.
Right. Ooh. All right, Chris, you have anything to say to me, or we're gonna go to your favorite guys? We're about to go to the spiciest of groups.
Check. You guys should check my pick'ems. I made a change.
Spicy with a capital C.
I made a change. I made a change in my pick'ems.
I love it.
Wait, how do I find?
I gotta see this.
And I'll explain it. I'll explain it perfect. I know exactly what I'm gonna argue on this one.
One of these teams are good.
All right, so here we go. This is C, spicy with a C, and these are my picks, and I could totally.
I'm gonna let all 3 of you guys go through your picks. I'll just be sitting here waiting.
We're probably gonna have the most deviation, so we're just gonna nail our picks real quick. I'm Samsung Galaxy, Royal Never Give Up, G2, and then 1907. Brad, you got the same thing? Yep. Man, we are just level-headed people here.
I mean, I didn't go for any like home run picks. It was kind of just, all right, now this team's not bad. We'll put them there. This team seems like they'll be better here. It was like I tried to think it out, and I didn't think too far into it, and that's usually like what gets me in trouble.
Right, and to give you to answer the question or the statement that usually every year one Korean team doesn't perform, as well as they should. I think that's going to be Samsung Galaxy again. I think Samsung Galaxy in the group stages, they're coming in the exact same storyline as last year. KT should have beaten them, but hey, guess what? Samsung's here as the 3rd seed again, and I really see them. pretty much in the same group as they had last year. The only difference is G2 instead of TSM and 1907 instead of Splice. And was it Splice or yeah, it was Splice,
Yeah,
right?
Splice. That sounds
so,
right.
It's just like I think that they are the top team in this group, but I could see a world where this is the worst performing Korean team. No, I still think that nets them first. Jeff, take us through your Group C.
I've got the same as you guys. Samsung first, RNG second, G2 third, 1907 fourth. Pretty logical. I think RNG's all right. I don't think they're better than Samsung. I think they're going to be. I think that this is a roster that's been the same roster since last Worlds, the Samsung roster. So that's why I think they're not going to perform badly. I think this is going to be a 6-0 group for them. I think that they've already managed most of these teams before at some point. Oh, well, RNG, and I think they played against G2 at some point. No, they played against HK. So either way, I think this is a team that they're sort of familiar with already, and this is going to lead to them getting a 6-0.
I don't think they can 6-0. I think this is a group where no team comes out unscathed because, I mean, again, we saw this group last year, and again, these aren't the same teams as last year, but I think we'll see a lot of wins traded between. We might even see a 1-1 between. Well, in my book, Samsung, Royal Never Give Up, and G2, and I really think it's going to be on 1907 to play spoiler. And to Chris's what he's going to pick, I could, if 1907 can spoil enough games, they could find themselves moving up because I don't think any of the teams are going to go lossless, and because of that, I could.
Come on.
I'm not going to put it. I'm not going to put it there. No. There's no way I'm moving it there. But I could definitely see a world where there aren't enough wins on the top two teams to automatically qualify them, and you've got the lower teams are just picking up enough games to get in. Who knows? All right, Chris.
All right.
Hear it.
Whew. Okay. Let me just get this out of the way right here. Here are my picks. Samsung Galaxy, number 1. 1907, number 2. RNG, number 3. And good old G2 Esports sitting at number 4, just like the rest of these European teams at the bottom of this barrel. All right. Samsung Galaxy. They are going to outright win the group. I think they have a possibility of 6-0ing, but I personally think they will get upset by my boys, by the 1907 boys, but that's just another thing. Okay. RNG, G2. I don't think that they are as good as everyone says they are. Just like I brought up last time, watch the Chinese final. Watch RNG go up 2-0. Uzi going, I want to play Ezra! Tilting off his ass and losing the next 3 games. Losing the next 3 games. You're going to tell me, and then G2, I think that they're going to play too controlled for their own good. They're going to worry about not losing. This is what I call the real Weldon effect. They worry about not losing too much that they end up losing. It happened in TSM last year. They thought they were so good, and they were like, okay, we can't lose. We're too good. We can't lose. And they focus on it, and that's when they're going to lose. 1907 has nothing to lose and everything to fucking game. And if you look up at their actual lineup and you actually watch their games in the playing stages, Crash, don't give that man Gragas. It's really scary when you see his Gragas ult in some of those games, and he has only been with the team before the playing stages a week before. Give him another week with the team and see how well they do. Frozen is another Korean.
But aren't they getting their normal jungler back?
As of esports this morning, no, they're using Crash as the lineup right here. The lineup versus RNG today, they're playing Crash at their jungler. Frozen is a very good mid laner, and he's also Korean, which you see the synergy between Crash and Frozen within that Korean lineup. Crash gave a lot of kudos to Frozen for helping him out adapt to the team. Okay, this is my boy right here, Patton. Okay, y'all don't know about him yet, but when he solo kills Uzi in lane and he starts rolling and he gets like 3 or 4 kills and then he's up 7-0, then you'll definitely know about Patton. Patton's gonna be the next Levi of the finals. He will be just like Levi came in the scene at MSI. Patton's going to do the same exact thing. If he plays like he did in group stages, I think that he's playing up against Uzi. Who else? Who else is in that group? Uzi. Was it
Ruler.
Wraith? Ruler? No, yeah, Ruler
Sven.
and Sven.
Yeah.
This is all those guys, great talent, and the mentality of him. If he loses, so what? Then all of them, they have to play up to that potential, and they know that. If Patton gets first blood or he gets the first kill in that lane, he rolls it, because I think instantly they get messed up in the brain, and that's where 1907 is. That's how they're gonna take it. Remember, who was the crit on last year? Albus Knox. That's the same exact shit they did in their group too. They came in as the dark horse. They knew that they had everything to win and nothing to lose, and they played their game, and they made it to quarterfinals. Every tournament needs the Cinderella story, and 1907 is definitely in the makings of becoming the Cinderella story. Just saying.
This is a protect the 80 carry meta, and you know that's exactly how G2 is going to play, and Sven is the person to do that with. He is the 80 carry that has the mechanics, that has the team fighting prowess. That
He's very level-headed.
He's very level-headed, and G2 will literally leave Perks out to die and form a wall around Sven.
So you don't need to leave him out to die for him to
So
die.
do you have
That is true.
do you have that much trust in Trick then?
I wouldn't say that, and I have him third. That's the thing. But I think that the ADC power out of G2 is going to be enough to keep them above 1907. I don't know. And I think MLXG is a good enough jungler to keep Royal Never Give Up at least fighting through the early game and give him a decent run into the mid game.
When RNG loses their first game to 1907, just wait for that. They're going to tell.
I'll be sad that my pick'ems is locked. That's what I'll say. But I don't think that's gonna happen. All right. Whew. Anything else to say about Group C?
If you add up 1907's numbers, 1 plus 9 is 10, plus another 7 is 17. It's 2017 for all you guys out there, so it's their year.
Oh.
And for all of you
Wow.
conspiracy theorists out there, there you go. I'll
Also,
leave that one out there.
They forgot to add a T on the end of their name. Anyways, moving right on. It's esport. Anyway, it's probably are they Turkish, right?
I think so, or they're French. I don't know.
I thought they were French.
I thought they were French. That's the only thing they have against them. That almost tilted me out of them second. But
yeah, I was like, I thought you put all the European teams low. Anyways,
Yeah, they're probably gonna surrender at 20.
They're Turkish.
Ooh, I like it. I don't like it. Sorry for all of you French viewers out there. French
The one
TSM
guy
fans.
was like, he heard me say that and went, chocolate bleu.
My baguette. Okay. So there's some French things.
There's some
French fries. Thank you guys for French fries and French toast and stuff like that.
French
We
women.
love you guys.
And French women.
And French women. Yeah. All right,
Everyone's
moving
like,
right
shut
along.
the fuck up, dude.
Group D. People might disagree with me on this one. And I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I'll defend it. I don't know what you guys have, but I have WE number 1, TSM number 2, Flash Wolves number 3, and Misfits number 4.
I'll change this so we don't have the same lineup the whole way through.
Do we actually have the same lineup the whole way through?
We have the exact same four.
And we both changed gigabytes. Well, I made mine first, so meh.
Did you guys call each other up and talk it out?
We did. We're gonna color coordinate next episode too. All right. Here's my thing. WE looked like a really decent team during the play-ins. They didn't lose a single game. They had a couple shaky early games, and they had a couple. I think it was against Lion Gaming. Am I correct? That the games looked close. However, I would say Lion Gaming had the hardest path out of the play-ins, and they should have. I think Lion Gaming should be here, and 1907 should not. That's my thought. No, sorry. Lion Gaming should be here, and Fnatic should not be here. Is what I meant to say. I'm sorry about that.
You almost hurt my little heart there.
Because Lion, I think Lion had to play C9. Is that? Hold on. I'm actually gonna look this up so I don't keep spewing off nonsense. Play-in knockouts. Yeah, so Lion had to play against C9, which I feel really bad for them because they looked really good against WE. Anyways, all that to say, I think WE has shown that they remind me a lot of TSM in that they have power in every lane. And they can carry out of every lane. The two things I guess that I would say that aren't in WE's favor would be when they do objectives, they don't set up enough vision, and they can get collapsed on really easily, which I think will help TSM. And if TSM does finish first in the group, I think that's what would have happened. And the other thing is sometimes their level ones or just like their early game, they just kind of like give over first blood because why not? Makes it harder, I guess. Flash Wolves hasn't been looking that good. If you watch, here's the thing, the meta has shifted into you play safe early game, you let your ADC scale up, you keep them alive for the late game. Flash Wolves has gotten the let's draft the comp for that down, but then they go into game and they're like, we're going to play super aggressive even though we've got a Kog'Maw and scaling mid laner, but we're going to play aggressive anyways. And so they're either going to draft aggressive, and TSM and WE should be able to at least stay level with them in the early game and then just completely outscale them, or they're going to not draft aggressive and play aggressive and just get completely blown out of the water in the early game. Flash Wolves didn't look good against teams like Hong Kong Attitude and other teams that look not that good. And then Misfits, props for being here, Misfits. That's what I would say.
That's a really good. That's the best way to put it.
You wanted a Cinderella story. Here's your European Cinderella story. I was gonna make Cinderella European, but that already is a European name. Anyways, I think Misfits Gaming, a lot like 1907 and Group C, Misfits is here to play spoiler, and we see a WE, a TSM, or a Flash Wolves not make it out of this group if they start dropping games to Misfits. I think Misfits has a capability, especially with Power of Evil and Maxlore, to take games off some people, but that's, I think, where their only power lies. I think Hans Sama isn't a good enough ADC to carry this team.
But Alfari was challenger in solo queue.
Well,
now he's EU West.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. My reasoning for not putting TSM first is really petty, and it's pretty much every year I do pick'ems, I put TSM one slot too high. Oh, dang it. I'm either going to screw TSM over or I'm going to be perfectly right. So I think they're going to finish first, but I'm putting them second for the points.
Just quote everybody on that. So if TSM gets third, just everyone blame Josh. Just flame him.
Mm-hmm.
Just flame him on the comments. In the best spicy meme, we'll get a $10 RP card for me. Yeah, no.
Man, we're real giveaways. You can't throw in fake giveaways.
It's gonna make people flame you guys. That's what
If TSM gets third, Reggie will fly out to you and greet you in person.
If TSM gets third, TSM Fanhub podcast on Suicide Watch.
No, we will
Pretty much.
into 1907 Fenerbahce.
Yeah,
they're gonna transfer groups.
Yes,
we're gonna become a European emerging region podcast. And sorry for the largest League of Legends fan base ever. All right, I want to hear you guys' takes on Group D. I talked for a while.
Give me one thing. Since we have the same group, I'm just going to say I was thinking about putting TSM first if I can't decide if I want to do it or not, but I think their early game is what could win them.
Versus Svenskeren in the early game, and the meta is favoring Svenskeren.
I've got two words for you, my friend. Worlds Svenskeren.
Yeah, that's true. I'm moving them up now. See ya.
Lee Sin. There we go. That's the two words. But Nidalee, Lee Sin, Gragas, Ezreal. Well,
I hope we see that.
To be fair,
Dude, his Ezreal's gonna be sick. I know it.
But we haven't seen it. But the three that we have seen, the Gragas, the Nidalee, the Lee Sin, we've seen him go off on these, and these are meta picks right now, and that excites me. Brad, take it away. Why is TSM gonna win first?
Wow.
I don't know now. Now I'm not.
So
now I'm like, are you thinking? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe that's. I don't want to hype him up too much because then that just that lets me down even more if they don't get first.
Oh dear.
Am I gonna have to
Here's
be the
what I have
conductor
to
of this
say.
hype train? Am I gonna
I'll
have
let-
to
no.
conduct this
Yeah,
Yeah,
hype
these
train?
two will convince me where I want to put TSM.
All right, guys.
All right.
Mystic,
Jeff, did you go
Mystic
first?
struggled.
There you go, yeah.
Mystic struggled against White Lettuce.
Yup.
How do you think
Okay.
he's going to
To
play
White
against
Lotus.
the Pang Wang bottom lane?
White Lotus.
I'm
What-
sorry, who?
Really, a really good ADC. I'm gonna, as much as Jensen
who?
wants to meme him, go away. As much as Jensen wants to meme him, I feel really bad for this guy. And again, I feel really bad for Lion because this guy was on point. If you look at his scores and just look at how he played, literally it was one misposition by him that lost them that 60-minute game against C9. Anyways, continue.
I just think that, don't get me wrong, White Lettuce is pretty good. He's certainly a good AD carry, and I'm not going to take anything away from him. I'm going to meme on him because he lost, and White Lettuce is funny. But the thing is, he's very good, but if he was as good as Double Lift, he would be in an LCS team. He's North American. He would be here. You know what I mean? And I think that Double Lift and Biofrost are going to be so stable at this tournament. Like, I thought Biofrost last Worlds was really like volatile. There were games where he was doing well, and there was games where he was just feeding. And this is a different Biofrost than what we've seen. So I think at the level of consistency that we're getting out of this bottom lane, Mystic isn't going to be able to dominate the way that he normally would. So I think that in a protect the AD carry meta, I just think that Double Lift and Biofrost come out on top because especially because of Biofrost's proficiency on Rakan and I believe we've seen him play. No, we haven't seen him play Taric, have we?
No.
Not recently.
But honestly, I would take his Taric because his Braum, and I'm not saying Braum and Taric are the same type of champs, but he's good at the tanky, not like the tanky pseudo engage.
Yeah.
Where it's not hard engage, but he's good at hard engage, but he's good at those tanky pseudo engages. And I would say, I almost think that this TSM squad comes down to Double Lift. And does Double Lift put up a Worlds performance like all the others, or does he perform? So,
I believe.
Chris?
Okay.
See, it's because you believe and you used to be a CLG fan that I just
Yeah.
have such a hard time.
Yeah. All y'all don't know real faith, man. Because me and Jeff were both CLG fans when Double Lift was there. That's why y'all putting TSM second. Because no faith, guys, no faith. Just remember that epic line. And the faithful shall be rewarded. I know for you guys that stings, but that was great.
CLG's at home.
And Double Lift's at Worlds. It's Double Lift.
Specifically talking to me and Chris.
Yeah, it was Double Lift. Okay. I'll name it off for you right here. I'm gonna name off 6 names and tell me if you like any of them. Betty and Sword Art, Mystic and Zero, and Hansama and Ignar. I will take Double Lift and Biofrost and over all 6 of those any day of the week. And just like we said, and just like all of us has said earlier, it's bottom lane centric. And if Double Lift has a performance not like last Worlds, I mean, he even admits that he played like shit. So as soon as he admits that he played like shit, I'm gonna flame the fuck. I mean, I'm not really flaming him. I'm pointing out the fucking obvious at this point. So if he plays like a Prey, or if he plays like a Bang, then TSM
world-class ADC.
Yes, an S tier ADC in Worlds view, then we make it out of the groups scathe-free. I don't think we drop a game. Because I honestly think Hanser can Hanser can go even and or beat any of the top laners. Sven can go even and or beat any of the junglers, and Bjergsen will poop on every single mid laner, except for maybe PoE. That's still in the air because
I really think that PoE has gotten so much worse. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think PoE has gotten so much worse since
PoE plays well when everyone thinks he's bad and plays bad when everyone thinks he's good. That's what it is. And PoE is on Misfits Gaming's at World, so he's gonna play well.
Yep.
That's really what I think it comes down to.
Yeah.
Misfits
Sorry to
of
interrupt.
Love.
It's the unicorn of luck, the unicorn of luck basically, or the unicorns of love. It's like that little fucking stigma where if they got nothing to lose, we're just gonna play our picks and go for it. And Bjergsen's okay. I love Bjerg. Bjerg's my boy, but Bjerg's known to get tilted when somebody picks a champ that he can't play against. That's why he was such a little thorn in his side for a while there with A Soul, because he couldn't figure it out.
Even.
Yeah, Keen was always been a thorn in his side.
Brought out the
Urgot mid.
counter pick.
Urgot mid, dude. Bjergsen hated that shit. So
Well, then he picked it up and
Yeah.
worked it, but
yeah, whatever. If Doublelift and Biofrost show up, which I think they will, I think last year's Worlds and Doublelift taking a break, I think him seeing this group, he knows, I think the whole team knows, that if they don't make it out of here to top 2, there's going to be a lot of soul searching. There's going to be a lot of questioning of what are they really doing here, and are they going to continue to do this as a team together, or are they going to split apart? And this is a huge one. If they don't make it out of this group, this team might not be here next split. Because some of them
really sad.
But
really sad.
That's the expectations they have for themselves right now. Because of this group, because of everything that happened last year with Doublelift living. I'm just putting it out there because I don't want them to lose and things like that. But you have to start thinking that, because that's how they're thinking. If they're going balls to the wall, they want to win it all. If they don't, I don't want to know what happens, because after last year.
Do you see a world, and I don't want to get into this because it means TSM's losing, but do you see a world where TSM rebuilds around Doublelift and Bjergsen?
Yeah, 100%.
Because I don't think Doublelift is stepping away from competitive. Especially while it's about to get a lot more lucrative than it was before. I don't think Bjergsen's necessarily done, because I feel like he's got that drive that he wants to make a name for himself. I don't think he's going to quit till he does. And I really don't think that he leaves TSM, because those are two huge brands that I don't like. I feel like they both just lose so much by divorcing from each other. But I could see a world, and again, we're on a TSM podcast before Worlds, and but I could definitely see, I don't think it'd be the right decision, honestly, but I could see them clean house and pull in a new team around Doublelift and Bjergsen. Anyways.
Yeah. But that likelihood of happening, I really think is super low. I think they're gonna have to shit the bed. I think that all the positive stuff that's coming out, not about them, but out of the camp of good job to Reggie, by the way, for fucking calling out Fnatic for doing that stupid shit, and for us not having to deal with the Weldon situation again, or maybe one of those Korean teams going, why did you let Fnatic in there? And then Reggie, like, I know he kind of went off on Twitter and everyone's like, whoa, dude, but that's what he should have done when the leaks happened in the first place, where he kind of just, put it out there and was like, this is what happened, blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. But unless, outside of that little controversy, everyone seems way, way more positive than last year. They are, just more, realistic, if that, and the scrims are going better for them. Good Q thing too is that they were scrimming Gigabyte Marines, so they were scrimming their Kryptonite, so that's always a plus. But you can always learn best from your enemy, so that's always good.
Improve.
Yeah, so I don't think it's gonna happen, but TSM might have a chance to get third if they do tilt off their behinds, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I really. My thing, again, another reason why I put WE first is 957 has this uncanny knack for going even. It doesn't matter who he's playing, what champ he's on, and he always shows up in team fights. And I think that is I think that's a huge boon for WE, and I think that's going to be what keeps them in first place. They are going to have a rock solid top lane, and they have Shiye is a really good team fighter. He might not be the best in lane, but he's really good at picking out exactly where he needs to be and dealing. If you saw him on Corki, there's times where he's taking the package through the middle of teams, and you're like, what are you doing? And he's going through the middle of teams over into red buff, so he can loop around, splits up the team, kills the back line. This guy sees team fights. So I think WE has a really solid team. But then again, I can't imagine a world where TSM 6-0s this group. I don't know if it's going to be that clean. I think the way that I guess this is WE 5-1, TSM 4-2, Flash Wolves 3-3, Misfits 0-6.
You know, I just stumbled across the ESPN's analysts of like group rankings, and I just scrolled right down to this one, and 3 people actually have Misfits in second place.
Really?
What
Dumb.
European
Yeah.
finals were they watching?
What European?
Yeah, seriously. What the fuck?
Like Jacob Wolf doesn't have TSM getting out of groups. He has WE and Flash Wolves getting through. And same as Broken Shard, but he has WE and Misfits.
See, okay, with Flash Wolves though, and I've heard this argument brought up, and if you watch any of the Flash Wolves or you look at the Taiwanese league, the fucking discrepancy between like number 1 team and number 2 team and number 3 team between the bottom ones is ridiculous. Like, I know Flash Wolves are good. And Karsa and Maple are amazing, but once again, this is a bottom-centric meta.
Right.
I
This
mean,
meta so horribly, like it does not
Flash Wolves
favor
have never
Flash Wolves at all.
Flash Wolves has
At
never had
all.
a good ADC. Yes, Sword Art's fucking amazing. Yes, and this meta actually is really good for Sword Art, but I think their ADC is going to bring him more farther down because now they're going to have to start playing high class ADCs, high class support players. So Sword Art might not be able to do some of the crazy shit that you guys saw in his Taiwanese stuff. Like, just saying, because he ain't going to be able to roam as much when you have Double Lift and Biofrost pushing down your lane.
Yeah.
And then Sven comes and ganks, and you're like, oh, I'm in mid lane ganking, and Bjergsen's just backing, and you're like, oh, well, they took our bottom tower. Like, cool, like, good job roaming.
Yeah.
Oh, and as for Misfits, and I hate to call back to last year because it was so long ago, but I think Splice was a lot better than Misfits last year, and TSM handled them pretty easily.
I think they went 1-1 with Splice, right?
No, they went 2-0.
They went 2-0.
Oh, really?
The only team that Splice beat, they took a game off RNG.
Okay. Did TSM lose both games to RNG?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so they went 1-1. That's how they went 3-3. Got it. Okay, I just thought for some reason that they went 1-1 with everyone. But sweet. Well, unless there's any closing thoughts on, we now have 2.5 hours until Worlds starts. Obviously, when you are getting this episode, it will have already started. But those are our picks. Those are gonna lock in. I'm not touching mine anymore. I feel confident in mine after making that little Gigabyte Marine switch, and came to the dark side. All that fun stuff.
You're not putting Immortals first?
No.
Not 1907 number 2. 1907 in Group C number 2. Come on.
Yeah. So just one more reminder, guys. Every game in the group stage that TSM wins equals a $5 RP giveaway. Tell your friends, tell your wives if you have wives.
I want
spicy. Don't have wives.
I just want spicy memes. Give me spicy memes.
Yeah. Comment in this video. Comment below. 24 hours or so. We won't go less than 24 hours. We might go a little bit more than 24 hours. We will take all the names down that are in chat. We will randomize how we choose it. I don't know if we'll show it. We might show it on next show where we just randomly out of a hat. Pull that hat up, Chris. I think that might be the hat we use.
Oh, my hat. Oh, yeah, my hat. Hold on.
No. We might use this hat.
I'm prepping for winter, baby. 1907. Let's go.
Winter is coming. 1907. All right. So yeah, comment below. Enter your chance. Hope that TSM wins 3, so you've got a better chance. Root for TSM in this game.
Spam 1907 in chat.
Spam 1907. It just doesn't ring as much, man. Like if we had to move to a 1907 podcast, I'd do it, but it just doesn't ring as much. Also, their PUBG team is horrible. Wait, guys, we could be their PUBG team. Anyways,
Bad idea. Let me add this real quick. I talked last week about doing a giveaway if TSM didn't win a game. And
wait. Oh yeah, if they don't win a single game.
If they don't win a game throughout.
So 0-6.
Yeah. I'll give away a TSM mouse pad that's supporting the team.
If they don't win a game, I will personally paint you a little TSM trash can and send it to your ass. If they don't win a single game.
Wow.
If they don't win a single game, I'll shave my beard.
Oh, yeah. Wow, okay.
Also, if they win Worlds, I'll shave my beard as well.
Wow,
wanna, like,
dude,
shave
I
your
want
beard or
to.
something?
What?
Or-
Feel like
You can't. You
kind of
can't.
want to shave your beard.
You
That's like-
can't split me that way. I don't know if I want him to lose or win now.
Find out next week.
Find out next week if you're
Jeff-
halfway there.
Yeah.
He's gonna just come with half of his beard shaved. If they go 3-0 or 0-3, you just shave half of it. All right. From all of us here at the 1907 Fenerbahce Esport podcast,
Live from Turkey,
live from Turkey or wherever,
wherever they're from.
wherever. I'm White Lettuce, and I am signing out.